The South African Weather Service predicts that cold temperatures will prevail across the country. Temperatures are dropping and a cold front is bringing snow to some locations. So to discuss this even further, I'm now joined by Associate Professor of Physical Geography, Jennifer Fitchett joins me, of course, this morning right on Newslink. Thank you so much for your time, Jennifer. I suppose most people watching from early morning, seeing the visuals we've been providing them of the snowfall, wondering why do we have the snowfall? Sure, winter conditions we understand, but the snow, maybe some didn't expect it.
Yeah, absolutely. In Johannesburg, we have snow approximately every 10 years. The last snowfall here on Wits campus was in 2012, where we had a really significant snowfall event. There might be isolated cases of very, very light snow or sleet in some of the high-lying areas of Johannesburg, but to have really widespread snow is unusual. It requires a very strong cold front, a strong mid-latitude cyclone, which we saw reach the country over the weekend. And the combination of very, very cold temperatures and the moisture that comes with a mid-latitude cyclone system has the potential to bring snow as far north as areas such as Johannesburg. If you've got kind of conditions of atmospheric instability that we're seeing at the moment. So areas such as Lesotho will experience about 8 to 10 snowfalls in the highlands per year. We don't experience it that far north in Johannesburg unless we have the kinds of conditions we've observed over the last 24 hours.
Jennifer, how long will this winter wonderland snow last for?
In Johannesburg, snow doesn't usually very long, usually a couple of hours, and it doesn't settle very long on the ground, although we are seeing it settle here on Wits campus. In terms of how long these very cold conditions and the snow are likely to persist, you need to then look to the forecast from the South African Weather Service. Certainly the cold conditions associated with a cold front can persist for a couple of days. Short-lived. So for those of you who are seeing snow, now is your time to enjoy it.
No, absolutely. I mean, I also got a text from my mom saying that my little one is so excited to see the snow in our backyard. So definitely a lot of excitement. But also when we're seeing those temperatures also dropping, there's equally, that caution to keep warm during this winter condition.
Absolutely. We are looking into the cold stress, and I've got a number of students who are using weather meters across Johannesburg today, recording the temperature, humidity, the wind chill factor, the wind speed, to identify whether we are at the point where there is a severe threat of hypothermia. Certainly for people who are homeless, it's a very, very real risk. For pets in homes, there have been circulating messages encouraging people to keep their pets indoors, and I'd certainly support that. But we also have to think about school environments and the threat of cold if we're trying to do things like physical education outdoors. But even if children want to go outside and play in the snow during break time, we do need to be cognizant of the fact that there is a risk of cold stress at this point, and that long exposure to cold can pose a health risk through hypothermia.
Absolutely. Those are just live visuals just outside there, Jennifer. I'm not sure if you can see, but for our viewers, you can see some of our colleagues taking those pictures and going on social media, making sure that it's known that they are definitely seeing this winter snow in Johannesburg. But Jennifer, does this have anything to do with climate change, global warming at all?
So we would very, very, very seldom attribute any individual climate event to climate change. There is recent work in terms of attribution. So, for example, if we look at a large event such as the Durban floods, there has been some research done on attribution, and that would follow the event taking place. But we don't tend to attach a particular climate event to climate change. Rather, climate change is about the very long-term trends. And we have experienced snow in Johannesburg before. It is not unprecedented. But that said, under conditions of climate change, we are experiencing a greater intensity of extreme climate events. Usually those are on the warm end, so we're experiencing a greater number and intensity of extreme heat events. But we are in some regions of South Africa experiencing increases in extreme cold events as well, because of the disruptions to the climate systems. And one of my former PhD students, Dr. Arjan Panavalt, has been doing a lot of work on exploring trends in extreme cold events. So it is something that we explore over much longer time periods, and we are seeing that in some regions. We are seeing extremes on both ends.
It's also, equally just comforting knowing that it's not much to do with global warming or climate change at this point. Simply seeing these weather conditions at this time, just part of what we're seeing in our weather conditions. But also, I know that, for some that are probably watching on social media, wondering, is the snow only in certain parts of South Africa? Or is the entire country expected to experience this snowfall? Do you by any chance know where perhaps it might not fall in South Africa?
Yeah, so it's certainly in very isolated regions of South Africa. We do not experience snowfall events that cover our whole country. We haven't done so for tens of thousands of years. We could go back to the last glacial maximum to experience widespread snowfall across South Africa. So the moment you move towards areas in the low veld, such as Hoedspruit down through to Durban, we've got much warmer conditions, and it's much less likely that there would be snow up in Limpopo as you move towards the Tropic of Capricorn and you move into that subtropical, tropical region. We're less likely to experience snow in those areas. And if you've got a very low relative humidity, we're less likely to experience. The greatest snowfall is always going to be in our mountainous areas, Cape Fold Mountains, the Drakensberg Maluti Mountains. Up in the Highveld here in Johannesburg, we're experiencing this unusual snow event, but I would be very surprised if it were to cover the whole country.
All right. So in case you're missing out on the snowfall, you might be going through, some FOMO right now, given those pictures that we're seeing everywhere, including the visuals from our eNCA. But thank you so much, Jennifer, for speaking to us about this. Associate Professor of Physical Geography in the School of Archaeology, Geography and Environmental Studies at Wits University. Jennifer Fitchett, thank you so much for your time.